and husband this morning.
Yes. Claudia, I want to bring you in and just ask the question. When we talk about changing the education system, the change as well that we saw CBE being introduced, one would have said that it is the eureka moment that Kenya needed for us to fix our education. But is it that the system does not wants to maintain the status quo because that's how we've run business all along? Is the system destroying the education that ought to be given to the children of Kenya?
Aseto, a CBE education system is very good if implemented correctly, because the system equips our children with the necessary competencies to thrive in school and also to thrive in life. Because you're looking at competencies like collaboration, communication, critical thinking. These are skills that you need as an individual, whether you're in or out of school, to be able to make it in life. If you're a business person and you have the skills, it makes sense. So I agree, the system is good, but I would still go back to what we've said here before and even now, that the implementation, it wasn't done.
Is it by design?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think it's by design. I think what happened was just a rash decision. If we would have taken time and listened to what the stakeholders were saying at that particular time, because there were people who were vocal before the implementation of the CBA saying, yes, the system is good, but could we ensure that we have like a costing for the system, for example, and then analyze and see what would it cost for the government to educate a child from early years to senior school. And then when you have that in place now, start rolling out the education system, keep evaluating, keep monitoring, and see where to fix. So I think I would stand by saying that the education system is good. Where the challenge is implementation, and just people taking accountability and not realizing that, a child will only be a child once. When someone misses that opportunity, we have ruined the destiny of that particular child. I keep saying, like as I'm a staffer to Sawa Agenda right now, it's an opportunity that I'm stewarding. What is my contribution to the education sector? So for every person in the education sector, every stakeholder, what will the next generation say about what you did? Because let me tell you, whatever we sow, we will reap in the next 5 years by the kind of workforce that we have. Let me just paint the picture of the senior school a bit by data, because the conversation we want to have is let data and evidence guide policy planning, implementation of projects as well. So the disparities between cluster 1 and cluster 4 and even special schools, it's good to mention that we have special schools in our country that are going through a really, really difficult time, because if you do not take care of the learners in special school as well, that means like what are you actually doing to their lives? So I'll mention facilities in terms of data so that we have a full picture. In terms of ownership of ICT resources, comparison between cluster 1, cluster 4 and private and special schools, you would find that cluster 1 schools have a national average of 89.8% of schools have operational computer labs, compared to cluster 1 at 18.6%. of schools have operational computer labs. You look at special schools, they are at 42.1%. So at this particular point, there's the cluster 1 schools that have 3% of our learners are still leading in ICT. Right? When you go to libraries, right? Because when you look at libraries, you're looking at learning resources. And if you want to improve your literacy and understanding of concepts, you need resources, books, library, well organized. You would find that nationally, 38% of our schools, senior schools, have a library. Majority of the schools as well, 29% cluster 4 have libraries. When you look at cluster 1, they're at 79%. What is critical for STEM, and the government would like to have 60% of our children pursuing STEM pathways competently. You would find that in terms of laboratories, Ndu and Aseto, cluster 4 schools are leading in multipurpose laboratories. What do you understand by multipurpose? Multipurpose is you have a room laboratory which it has everything. Right? They're the ones leading in that particular category at 75.
Cluster 4 schools.
Cluster 4 schools at 75.8%. When you come to specific laboratories for chemistry, for biology and physics, Cluster 1 schools are leading. The percentage of Cluster 1 schools with these facilities are leading. For example, chemistry laboratories, 88.4% of Cluster 1 schools have chemistry laboratories, compared to 21.6% of Cluster 4 schools.
Why the discrepancy?
When you come to physics laboratories, you would find Cluster 1 schools, a total of 86.4% of them have biology laboratories, compared to 13.6% of Cluster 4 schools. When you come to biology, you would find 93.9% of Cluster 1 schools have biology laboratories, compared to 13.8% of Cluster 1 schools. I am not shocked, because the results show. When you look at the KCSE results, like which students are trailing in terms of D's and E's in some of the subjects, it's Cluster 4 schools. It's the school level factors contributing to the learning outcomes of these learners. They are not well resourced, and that is the